China's top power core has once again flooded global headlines. Tension inside Zhongnanhai, economic decline, looming energy and local debt crises. These are all Xi Jinping's routine pressures. But today, what truly triggered widespread attention was a rare, extraordinary Politburo meeting. At the end of November, a meeting had just been held, yet only a week later, another one was suddenly added. The official statement mentioned only economic plans, governing the party by law, institutional reforms, and concluded with a familiar phrase. The meeting also studied other matters. In the political language of Zhongnanhai, this means the situation is far more complicated than it appears. Wind and turbulence. Hidden currents inside Zhongnanhai. December 8th, 2025 became the day that ignited public conversation. What alarmed observers was a highly unusual move by the CCP, convening an extraordinary Politburo meeting ahead of schedule, something exceedingly rare in the party's political operating history. Normally, Politburo meetings are held in the last week of each month, predictable and regular. But this time, after holding one at the end of November, the top leadership reconvened urgently just a week later. This level of intensity is almost unheard of in Zhongnanhai, more like repeated internal alarm bells. One can imagine the atmosphere in the meeting room. Tense, perhaps even uneasy. According to the official release, the agenda again consisted of safe, familiar themes: economic planning, comprehensive rule of law, system building reform. But the truly telling part always lies in the wording. At the end of the communiqué, the long-used phrase appeared again. The meeting also studied other matters. These 11 characters, repeated for decades without explanation, are never filler. In Zhongnanhai's political context, they may mean sues that cannot be disclosed publicly, matters not yet finalized, or information intended only for insiders behind closed doors. Behind such understated phrasing has historically been hidden the sharp edges and key variables that shape power structures. As a result, people began to look back toward November 28th, the seemingly routine Politburo meeting that had planted the first seeds of anomaly, the first visible warning: the 2 empty seats on November 28th. On November 28, 2025, the Politburo held a routine meeting and collective study session, reviewing the comprehensive report on the 20th Central Inspection of Provinces, Autonomous Regions, Municipalities. The agenda was standard and uneventful: inspection rectification and anti-corruption normalization. However, CCTV's unusual broadcast of the meeting scene revealed a startling anomaly: 2 conspicuous empty seats. Missing were Politburo Standing Committee member and CCDI Secretary Li Shi, Politburo member and former Xinjiang Party Secretary Ma Xingrui. In the CCP's political ecosystem, Politburo meetings are rarely shown on camera, and showing visibly empty seats is even rarer. The appearance of these vacancies was widely interpreted as a deliberate signal. 2 days later, on November 30th, the CCDI announced the investigation of Chen Weijun, executive vice chairman of Xinjiang, who had served directly under Ma Xingrui. Analysts noted that this timing looked like a warning shot aimed at Ma. Li Shi's absence, however, was a real shock. As CCDI's secretary, he has been a top enforcer of Xi Jinping's anti-corruption campaign, overseeing over 300 provincial ministerial-level takedowns in 3 years. His sudden no-show sparked 3 immediate theories: a health issue, secretly overseeing a major case elsewhere, being drawn into an investigation himself. Li Shi and Ma Xingrui had long worked together in Guangdong. Their benefit networks are closely intertwined. Any serious problem in either figure would inevitably have wide and dangerous implications that be why December 8th. Overseas commentators intensified their interpretations. YouTuber Chun Pokong claimed the CCP had convened an extraordinary Politburo meeting possibly to brief on Li Shi and Ma Xingrui. Although not confirmed by official sources, the accumulation of anomalies made the rumors spread rapidly in overseas circles. What did the extraordinary meeting really target? If the 2 empty seats on November 28th were merely a forewarning, then the sudden December 8th meeting indicated the situation could no longer be postponed. Within the CCP system, calling an unscheduled Politburo meeting is an inherently political act and typically occurs only under 3 conditions: a major security incident, a systemic economic risk, a high-level personnel or structural power abnormality. Given current circumstances, the first 2 can almost be ruled out. The South China Sea is tense but stable. The economy is under pressure but has not had a public financial explosion. Local debt is dangerous but being managed as a long-term issue. The only category matching the sudden, internal, not publicly shareable characteristics is people. The timing itself is telling. Early December is a delicate window in the annual political cycle. The year's economic targets are firm. Personnel arrangements for the next cycle remain undisclosed. Local meetings and central work conferences begin to unfold. Calling a meeting at such a moment allows internal cleansing before year end and helps avoid new instability rolling into the next year. Looking at the timeline, November 28th, the double empty seats appear. November 30th, a subordinate is investigated. December 8th, an extraordinary Politburo meeting is convened. This is not coincidence, but a tightening internal storm. First a warning, then probing, then concentrated handling. In CCP logic, silence rarely means safety. It's often the night before the storm. Corruption allegations, factional struggles, and a web of money and power. The December 8th meeting may be only a high-alert internal gathering, but the deeper significance lies in the financial and political networks behind it. Rumors circulating overseas claim. During Ma Xingrui's tenure in Xinjiang, he amassed up to 100 billion renminbi through security and construction projects. Portions of these funds allegedly flowed into systems controlled by Li Shi and others into networks linked to Peng Liyuan's family. Overseas reports claim the funds were tied to Hong Kong luxury properties, foreign investments, and land purchases, forming a complex web of benefit flows. If true, this goes far beyond economic corruption. It indicates a rivalry within the top of the CCP. Some overseas analysts argue that the Huwen faction, supported by elder military figures, may be using this opportunity to curtail or weaken Xi's own power network. Political struggle, economic cases, and organizational reshuffles appear intertwined. Secretaries and subordinates taken away, full confessions, beginning networks traced through family, finances, and patronage. Within the Xi faction, Ma Xingrui and Li Shi represent two pillars of internal interest networks. Trouble in either may ripple outward and touch even Xi's personal power security. Three crucial indicators to watch next. In CCP political logic, the important thing is not the rumor itself, but the observable next steps. 1. Does Li Shi fully, publicly reappear? Signs of normalcy. Attending national meetings. Being shown on Xinwen Lianbo. Delivering full speeches. Warning signs. Long absence or only mentioned, not shown. Appearing but not speaking. Major meetings chaired by subordinate Lu Jingguo. In the CCP system, whether you can speak and what you say matters more than showing up. 2. Does Xinjiang's political system continue to collapse downward? Watch for Vice Chairman, Heads of Security, Finance, SOEs, Energy. Ma Xingrui's promoted technocrats and secretaries. If multiple officials turn themselves in or fall in clusters, the investigation is in a carpet-pulling phase, not just targeted punishment. Big cases always collapse from the periphery inward. 3. Does the CCDI escalate its language? Pay attention to whether these phrases appear. Political and economic issues intertwined, severely damaging political ecology, engaging in cliques and factions. The phrase cliques and factions is essentially a pre-cleansing signal. When it appears, the case is moved from discipline/personal corruption into political responsibility and factional struggle. The extraordinary Politburo meeting may remain unconfirmed by the CCP, but it is rooted in real absences and shifting power dynamics. In Zongnanhai, silence is itself a message. Every absence, every early meeting, is a potential sign of deep political tremors. Unanswered questions still hang in the air. What will ultimately happen to Li Shi and Ma Xingrui? Will Peng Liyuan's family become entangled in this power struggle? Will Xinjiang's funding black hole trigger a larger chain reaction? How will the 2026 two sessions and the 21st Party Congress reshape the power hierarchy? In CCP elite politics, rumors often matter more than announcements. All the outside world can do is interpret, analyze, and wait. What do you think? Is this a factional purge or merely collateral turbulence under normalized anti-corruption? The next few weeks may provide the clearest answers. Feel free to share your insights and observations in the comments.